All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, so we're just making sure that we are in all the places. We're getting on. Yep, got Instagram over here.
I'm on Instagram, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm on live on Facebook, but they can't see you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think I'm going to end this. Okay, because that's going to be really weird, and they aren't going to be able to hear you. I don't think.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay. Ending this. Okay. Bye.
That's right. And I think that happened one time for me too. So, hello, everyone. We are here. This is Tom. Let's start again. Drama Talks and Truths. And it's been a little while since we've
Yeah.
done this. It's been a little while since we've gone live because we're changing the format of how we do things. But it's been a little while since we've been on Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're kind of taking a chance right now because I was just a little teed off with Meta. And so I kind of went away from it for a little while, didn't check it much, I didn't completely, um, I forget what it's called. I deactivated my account is what I did. And so then all these things started to happen in the world and in the United States. And it is the way that I stay connected to friends and family. And so I was like, here I am. Here I am again. So, hello, we're back. And what we're going to do today, and because we know how algorithms work, I haven't been on here for very much. And so the likelihood of this reaching anybody is probably slim to none, but we're taking a chance. Nina probably has a better chance because you've been on a bit more, right? You get on Instagram.
On Instagram, I dabble in Instagram and dabble in YouTube. So if you're live on YouTube or Instagram, let us know you're live.
Yeah. Tell us you're here because, again, algorithms are weird. If you aren't regularly posting, what happens is that, we don't get pushed out. And
Mhm.
so Nina has a better chance of getting pushed out because she has been kind of hanging out on Meta and even YouTube. And I've been on TikTok. That's where I've been. I've been hanging out on TikTok. And I'm still hanging out on TikTok. So yay, somebody said hi by I'm hoping that's a hi. Tell us hi.
Yeah.
This is what we're gonna
Lori's on Instagram. Lori
Lori's
said
on
good
Instagram.
morning.
Lori's on. I can always depend on Lori.
Yes. Yay, Lori.
Shout out to Lori.
Uh-huh.
Lori is a community member in our Love Being community that we have. We have a growing group of people who are engaged and interested in the journey of understanding their own spiritual development and awareness and moving through the healing journey. And so it's really this combined experience, and we are still developing. We're still developing content and processes, and so we are inviting people into our community every time we reach out on social media and through our newsletters.
Yeah, and it's super fun, right? We can be in our own world sometimes on our journey. Whether it's conscious awareness journey, spiritual journey, trauma healing journey, whatever journey we're on in life, we can kind of be in our own world thinking that we're doing it alone. But there's so many of us that we're not actually doing it alone. We're all doing it together. And so I love our Love Being community for that, just like that, bringing souls together to like-minded individuals to do it's like you're doing your own work, but we're like with you.
Yeah.
We're with you in that community. And the good news is that the community is free. You just come and it's a place to be you fully, right? Be right where you are. So come. We also have paid, membership options as well, and where we take the work deeper. But don't let that limit you, because there's a community that you can come hang out with us, and there's no investment other than your time and your contribution.
Yeah, it's important to know. One of the things that's really important to me about anytime I bring a community together, and um, first off, the very, very first thing that's significantly important to me is that sense of belonging. And knowing that, as Nina mentioned, that you can come as you are, just come as
Mhm.
you are. The second thing is accessibility. Like, I want people to be able to access the information. And this is why we have a free option within the community. And I think we do a lot within the free part of our community. And then our paid option, it's not like pay a lot either. I mean, for some people it might be, but I mean, I've heard of groups that are like, upwards of 100 and something a month.
Mhm.
And, we have a paid option, which is $33 a month. And we do a deeper level of spiritual teaching. Nina does some somatic work. I do intuitive readings weekly. And so we're continuing, and we offer workshops. We try to do like a workshop a week. And so we're really developing this community, because I think it's, especially now, we have one particular person during a reading last week, 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. A newer member, she's probably been there a couple weeks now, and she said, I don't have anyone to talk about these things with. Like, I don't have anyone. I mean, I have a friend, but I have to, like, it takes a lot of effort for us to connect to one another, because I have kids and she has kids and we're just very, very busy. She goes, I know that you are here, and I know that I can ask the questions. I can get support and feedback. I feel safe and protected in this space. And that is right there. It was like, yes, that's my goal. That's my goal for everyone. So, what we are here to do, outside of just tell you a little bit about our community, is I wanted to offer um, intuitive readings and kind of show you what we do.
Mhm.
Oh, Nina just posted it's sort of like an application to get into our community. And let me tell you why. We need an application to get into our community, because I want to make sure it's like vetting out each person. I want to make sure that you have an understanding of what we believe in, what's important to us in terms of creating the climate and the community within the group. And so we want to make sure that from the very beginning, you understand that, it's an inclusive, diverse group of individuals, and you have to be okay with that. All righty. So go ahead, Nina.
I also dropped an Instagram and in the comments here on YouTube that if you'd like a reading today, Isel's about to talk about it. Let us know. Reading and coaching, or just a reading. So yeah, let us know while we're on. That's what we're here for today.
So this is how Nina and I we have figured out, like, I think it's like this magical experience, because what I do is I tap in intuitively to each individual, and I can first off get a connection with you to figure out, okay, who are you, and what's going on right now. And so I kind of get a sensation. I don't know how else to describe it. It's an intuitive hit, basically. And then I go, okay, is this you? And then you say to me, yes, yes, that's me. No, that's not me. And so then I go through and, kind of see if there's any information that comes up. Then I pull a card. And, I've come to a place now where I don't pull a card unless I have that connection. Like, if I can't connect to somebody, I don't go any further. And so once I get the connection, then I pull the card, and then I work with the archangels. I work with 12 archangels. And so I tap into that energy, and I go, okay, what messages specific to this card um, should I bring in for this individual? And that's where the messages come through. And what happens with Nina is that Nina, something will come up and Nina will go, oh, this might be something pertaining to an old childhood trauma, or I'm wondering what you're feeling in your body right now. Like, what are you experiencing? And so she taps in at sort of like a way to coach and support you through the process. And then we kind of do this dance together, providing those different lenses as we support people through this like reflective experience.
Oh, I love how you explain that so beautifully. And I will tell you, if you've never had a reading before, Isela and I have shared our story how we met before, and you can find it like on our past YouTube videos. I think we have one specifically about divine, our divine meeting. But Isela, she's very humble, but she doesn't miss very often. I've watched her in readings many, many times. And, 99% of the time she's spot on. And it's almost, if you've never had a reading before, you can feel a little like, whoa, how does she know this about me? Like, and what I love about Isela is she's tapping into like, what's alive? What's stopping you right now in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she comes with a trauma-informed lens. And it's really, really cool to watch her work. So if you're live with us right now, don't hold back. You want a reading, raise your hand. It's so fun also. Yeah.
Getting TikTok notifications.
TikTok.
That's where you're supposed to be.
TikTok is like, hey, you're cheating on us.
Yeah, what's interesting about that experience on TikTok, it's just like Facebook, except that it's much faster pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of information flying. And when you're on a live on Facebook, that's true too, but it's just different because there's like all this stuff filling up the screen, and it's just, yeah. And so it's a very different experience. But one of the things that has been really fascinating for me, because, Nina describes like, me doing readings. I have to tell you that every single time I do a reading, and on TikTok, I'll get a lot of people who go spot on. Yes, that's me. That's totally me. Every time I do it, I'm in awe. Every time. I'm like, oh, I did it.
Yeah, and she laughs like this. She gets so excited, like, oh, this is like, oh,
wow. Because it's kind of still, when you think about it, it's pretty remarkable that anyone can do that. I mean, like, and everybody can. We can. It's just, we have a lot of shit that gets in the way of us being able to do that. But it's remarkable that I can connect to people that are, hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles away.
Yes.
And I can get a sense of who they are. And it's a little remarkable.
Very remarkable. And
Mm-hmm.
I like how you said everybody can. Yes, everybody can also coach if they want to, right? But I think you have developed and put energy toward developing this, well, what do you call it? Gift or skill?
I think it's a skill.
Innate ability. Like, you've really developed the skill, and it's really awesome to watch.
It's like any skill, though. It's like with you with coaching, right? Like, you're a really effective coach. You tap into people, you help bring up, right? You help bring up or get connected to their emotional state and like, what could be really happening with you right now. And so you help people delve deeper into the awareness of themselves. And that doesn't happen within the first 2 months of coaching.
No.
And so it takes a lot of um, practice. And that's what I say about intuition and psychic work and mediumship. It's just practice. The problem is that it's fucking scary. It's
I
scary.
can attest to that.
It's scary. I was watching, if you are just joining, please say hi. Tell us that you're here. Hi, Laurie. She said she was in a funk this morning. She feels better now. That's so good. I'm always in a funk every morning. I hate mornings, but then I'm okay by like 9:30. I'm usually okay. I There's a woman on the other platform that she's a pet psychic, and she did a reading for somebody who is a creator who is, has a lot of followers, and she was so off. She was
Oh.
so off. And she gave a very, very inaccurate reading. And the creator went on, you know, and put it out there and said, and played video or audio of it because it was an audio recording, and then said, no, that's not true. That's not my dog. That's not. And it broke my heart because it's so hard to put yourself out there when you're woo woo,
Mhm.
and the vast majority of people don't believe in what you do, or
Yes.
think, or worse, think you're, one of Satan's children. It's like, and when you're Catholic, I'm not even kidding about that part. It's like, oh no, you're doing work of something evil. And so it is so hard to put yourself out there to do this kind of work, to do any kind of spirituality or do readings. And then when you get slammed like that, we all have bad readings. We all have bad where we're just not connected really well. Energetically, it's just off. Sometimes we get in the way with our own sort of stories and experiences. I mean, there's lots of reasons why this happens. And it's so hard. And then the pet psychic came back again to, respond to the video. And she's just devastated. She's like, I don't have a thick skin and I'm really having a hard time moving beyond this.
Mhm.
And it's hard, it's scary.
It
And
is.
it is a skill set though. If you don't practice it, you don't get better at
Yeah, I am like really celebrating this pet psychic because while this is probably really hard for, is it she, you said, to walk through, it's so relatable,
it. Right.
right? I just met with my past therapist who's kind of turned into a friend and mentor this morning, and she was asking me how my women's circle is going. It was inspired by women's circle that I was a participant in with her, and I just said it's always like this. It's a dance. It's new for me. It's a dance with trusting,
Yeah.
right? And it's exactly what you said. I would say that like being a pet psychic is probably like a little bit further than being a coach and doing this, like as far as the people don't um, recognize it, don't see it as valid, maybe even see it as like what you just said, like Satan's work.
Right.
So not so much. The coaches don't really see, but many people are like, you're not a therapist, and you're not,
Yeah.
you don't,
You're not certified. You don't have the
you don't
education.
have the college degree, all those things. And I said, it's this dance with uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's this dance with, you're not sure if you're going to keep doing it. Is it helping people? Is it working? And you fail. You do stuff messy. But here's the thing: if you're on the sidelines, like if she just stayed on the sidelines and didn't do her work, which she might be called to do, she'd have an inner wrestle.
Yeah.
right? It would be an inner wrestle all the time in her life. She'd feel out of alignment.
Mhm.
But sometimes when we step into alignment, we step into discomfort.
Oh,
We
you always step
always
into
do.
discomfort.
You step into
Yeah.
criticism, and you step into judgment, and you step into people not, like what she walked through. And I'm celebrating her. I don't even know who she is. I'm like, you go, girl.
It really is hard,
Mhm.
because the level of discomfort that you have to get comfortable with to do this kind of work, or to even just follow what your heart tells you. And I think every single one of us has a heart story about what brings us joy, what we get excited by. But somewhere along our path, from childhood into adulthood, we either are told that that's not what you should do, or the flame was never fanned. And
Yeah.
so sometimes that's an issue of we don't have the resources or the money. And so I can't, put you into dance, and I can't take you to do theater, and we don't have the resources for it. And other times it's the values of families, where in my case, I knew I was going to be a teacher my entire life. I used to play school. Nobody wanted to play with me because I always wanted to play school. Nobody wants to play school. Like, we did that all day. We don't want to play school. Like, I knew I was going to be a teacher, and my mom was like, "No, you need to be a lawyer," because I was always very quick. So, like, anytime anyone would say something, I was quick on my feet and I could respond. And that was a trauma response, actually.
Yes.
But it was a good skill for me. It's helped me as an adult. And so she didn't value teaching. And I remember when my senior year in high school, when I actually just said to her, because you have to make some decisions about college and all of those things. And I said, I'm going to be a teacher. And she just glared at me, and she just said, I know.
She
Like,
said,
she
I know.
tried. Yeah, she's like, I know. She tried so hard to move me in the other direction. My daughter is an artist, and you don't know how many grown-ups have said to me or have asked me. Number one, her teachers have asked me. They ask, they ask her, does your family support your art? Because so many families do not. And so many adults have asked me, well, what is she going to do? Like, what is she going to do with the art? And, there's nothing inside of me that ever has there been anything inside of me that said, move, like, make help her move in a different direction, because art is such an inconsistent, you just don't know what's going to happen in terms of, your art and your career and who gets to see it, and money, and all of those things come to play, when you're thinking about how do you survive, right? And so a lot of parents get very freaked out about art as a career. And for me, I don't see it from the lens of struggle. I see it from the lens of opportunity. And so I have said to my daughter over and over again, you know, what do you dream about creating?
Yeah.
Like, where do you see your contribution to the world? Because that's what it's about. But
Mhm.
putting your shit out in the world is scary, because especially art, but it's true for anything and everything, I think it's so subjective. Art is subjective.
Yeah.
How I approach people in my readings is subjective. How you coach is subjective.
Mhm.
And we forget that we're not here to please everyone.
Yeah.
We're here to align with the people who resonate with the message and the way that the message is delivered. And that's what I say to my daughter about art. Not everybody's going to love your art. And those aren't your people.
Yep.
Those aren't your people. But some people will, and they will, you're going to find an alignment. And when you trust that, the doors open, the possibilities will show up for
Mhm.
you as you continue to trust that. And I think we all have that. Every single one of us have a heartfelt desire to bring something and do something, but we don't have the courage or the support of the resources, because it's not just courage, it's support and resources to actually step into
Yes.
doing the very thing that you are supposed to do.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And it's so fascinating because most people would say, well, I want to do something that's more stable, or I'll go find a job somewhere, right? Because that's what we're conditioned to believe that we're supposed to do, get a job, stable. And then some people push their art aside. So I'm really happy that that you
I
I'm
did the
really
wrong thing here.
just highlight it. I'm really happy that you are encouraging her into her dream from the lens of possibility as opposed to lens of limitation and lens of believing what everybody's conditioned to believe. And that's really powerful. Yeah, I that's very powerful. And I think both you and I, and in what we do here in this work is very similar to being an artist.
Mhm.
I call it like you're walking out on a tightrope.
Yeah. It's exactly that. And now, for those of you who are watching this in the replay or who are here who don't know anything about me, I have over 3 decades of experience in early childhood education and social services. And so I have done extensive work in understanding what we call, oh, it's kind of like best practices in supporting the developing brain so that it builds the foundation so that they are resilient and they're confident and capable human beings with much to give and contribute to the world. And so like I've done that for 3 decades and I'm really good at that work, like really good. It would be so easy for me to just stay there and not show up here. It would just be so easy because I've been a consultant in that work for nearly 20 years. And so easy because I get work. I get work and I'm still doing really well. And because I do still do some of that work, but I am showing up, talking about woo-woo stuff and readings. And yeah, is it uncomfortable? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh, yeah.
uncomfortable. But you got to show up.
Yep. Pam, thank you so much. Pam says you both bring a lot of heart to the table. Love you both. We love you, Pam.
We do, Pam. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Mhm. Pam is another member in our community, and I feel so overjoyed to receive Pam's wisdom.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, Pam has many years of her own spiritual awareness and um, just an openness about other people's experiences. And so, yeah, she brings a lot of wisdom and
Mhm.
acceptance, I think.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So we will offer again, if anybody is live and you would like to have a reading and live coaching, that's what Isela and I do together as a team to support you in your life journey. Let us know, and yeah, yeah, let us know. We're here.
Yeah, I kind of knew before we got on here again because I have not been active on Meta at all, like in my Love Being group. And we need to start dropping some more content and videos there. I was afraid that it wouldn't get pushed out.
Yeah,
And
and
so
maybe also letting people know. Maybe we can kind of let you know ahead of time when we'll be live for our readings.
mhm.
Um, but we just wanted to drop in and like, yeah, say hi. Give you a
Yeah,
little taste of what's to come and what we're up to and what we do
so
together.
I'm going to do a general pull.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull one card and let's see what we got. And these are my Love Being cards. I have my own deck of cards. Hmm. The Be You card. I am a unique aspect of God. Nina, let's talk about this for just a second, because this journey into being you has been quite a journey for you, I think, right?
Yes.
Share a little bit about that.
The question that came to me as you pulled that was, how does one become you? You know,
Mm.
how do you be you? You know, at whatever stage you're at in life, there's so many. This is a complex question, but I think the thing that I'll share with you from my journey of finding who I was, I had to look at everything that wasn't me. All the patterns that I developed in childhood to stay safe, all the parts of me who I needed to be to get love, attention, affection, and safety. And for me personally, that was I had to be a good girl. I had to be perfect and sometimes invisible and quiet. And then I also developed a trauma response, which was a fawn response. So as I'm sharing this about myself, I want you to think about, who did you have to be to gain love, attention, affection? It might have been like, oh, I just had to be the smart one, or I had to be the person who was very successful. So I climbed the ladder, or I did all the sports. So when I did really good in that game, I got love, attention, and affection. And outside of that, I didn't get any of that. Right. And then what happens is we develop these parts of us to stay safe as little kids. And you want to think about, like, early childhood, like before you were 8 years old, right? And then you just want to look around and see if you're still doing those things now as an adult, because those are really driven. They're not driven by, I am just 100% worthy as I am, right? Those patterns show up in adulthood is like seeking validation outside of you. For me, it showed up in, like, I don't know who I am at all, because I developed a pretty strong fawn response that led me to be a chameleon in all my relationships and be who I thought you wanted me to be, so I could get love, attention, affection, and safety. So the journey to finding you, to being you, it's a beautiful journey, but sometimes painful. Because it reveals to us, it's like a mirror. It's like, oh, who am I? Oh, actually, this part is not really me. I'm behaving this way because I feel fear. But at the truth of who you are love. So this part of you who's afraid that you won't get accepted, what are you doing that is not you? Right? And so you're constantly, that journey to finding and being you, you're constantly faced with the parts of you who are not you. And we often, I lived my life very unconsciously till I was about, I'd probably say I started to wake up between 36 and 38 to not so much in this conscious way now. That happened only over the last 3 years, but wake up to, like, I am creating more suffering in my life. And something has got to change. Right? And it kept attracting, the same life every day. I used to say it feels like Groundhog Day. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but what does being you bring up for you, Isela?
Being you for me is to courageously show up with all of your identities, whatever that is. And I think that, our identities are shaped through our early experiences of life. And then as we continue into adulthood, but a foundation for our identities really is in our earliest years. And our identities, that's our race, our culture, our ethnicity, your sex, your gender, your or sexual preference, sexual yeah, gender. I think all of who you are to courageously show up as that. And I think being you is also the understanding that other people get to be themselves too.
Mm,
And so when you show up courageously as who you are, um, you give other people permission to do the same,
mm.
because
Thank you.
you're not seeking outward acceptance or approval. You're not looking for the reciprocity in a relationship where it's transactional,
Yeah.
like i I did this for you, what are you going to do for me type of transactional experience. You're just simply being in the presence of who you are. And I think there's two levels to who we are, like I said, our identities, because I'm Latina and I'm proud of that. Like, I have experiences with my mother being a migrant worker. I was first generation born on my dad's side. It's like there are experiences that I have that are unique to me as
Mhm.
a Latina woman. And and I'm neurodivergent. And so those things play a part in how I navigate my experiences in life. And I think to courageously show up as that while recognizing that other people have their own
Yeah.
sense of being, right? So that's
Mhm.
the first level of how we show up in this world. And then the second level is knowing that in truth, we are more than what we see. We are love, we are happiness, we are joy, we are peace. We are we are aspects of source. And so we are the all that is, right? In action. And so I practice that when I look at people, when I'm out grocery shopping. I practice this idea of when I see someone, I will, in my mind, say, I am you and you
Mm.
are me. I am you and you are me. And so there are two levels and that I kind of work through to navigate. And I think being you is recognizing both of those. That
Yeah.
I'm having this experience. This is how I show up. This is how I identify. These are the experiences that are important for my soul's growth. And then knowing beyond this is that we are in truth love.
That's so beautiful. And I think that's really important what you just said. I'm reflecting on my answer, and it could easily be like, "Oh, okay, I can't be around people until I can access the truth of who I am," right? Um, that's not at all what I'm meaning, but I think what you just helped me put together is to courageously show up in who you are, all the identities that you have,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
be really, truly, fully expressed as you are. You kind of have to first accept those parts of you yourself,
Yeah, no question.
right?
Mhm,
Yeah, it's like, oh, do I accept the part of me? I'm just going to use an example of like, I'm Latina and I have some curvaceous hips. And am I still talking crap about my body? Or am I like, I accept all parts of me and I fully express them?
mhm,
That's just one example. It could be even the part of me that I shared with you earlier. Like, I developed a people pleaser part pretty strong. Can I accept her too?
mhm.
Right? Can I accept that sometimes she shows up and then I just realize it after the fact, after an interaction, right? So I love I love your perspective because it just takes me into remembering that we first get to accept all parts of us. And that will help us be more courageous to just express all parts of us in all of our relationships.
Yeah, I think that so many people consider themselves broken,
Mhm.
that there's something deeply wrong with them. And unfortunately, when we before we start down this path of awareness, there is an unconsciousness of just functioning and trying to survive. And sometimes what happens when people have the belief, deep belief that there's something wrong with them or they are broken, sometimes what we'll see is a lot of projection. So we'll see people projecting the very thing that is true for them, and they are, placing hate and blame onto people who are similar to them.
Mm.
We see that when people um, aren't proud of their heritage. And so they go out and they'll say, all people who are this, brown people are a particular way. So folks will tend to project the very thing that they're ashamed of about themselves onto others.
Mhm.
And so this is a really integral part of what you just said is the acceptance of self, because as we begin to really unravel all of the patterns and the beliefs and the values that we've been taught, in order for us to land in a state of going, okay, is this really true for me? Is this just something that I have been taught by my family, by my parents, by my friends, by society? Where does this come from, right? And so as we unravel that and begin to land in the state of your own knowing, then you no longer have the need to project out to others. You stand in this state of strength. It's like
Mhm.
you're become this pillar of strength, and there's a sense of allowing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to speak up when somebody is being hurt. It's not like allowing things to happen with no boundaries or expectations of behavior, but it's allowing people to have their own journey of life,
Yeah.
allowing for people to be where they are, through the frustration and the pain and the ups and the downs that life, offers, and learning how to be a pillar of strength while holding space for others to have their own experiences.
Yeah, when many people think that something is wrong with them, and I resonate with that because that was my story. That was my belief system about myself. Something's gotta be wrong with me.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing life. I'm broken. I'm, you know, struggling with life in general. Um, and that story many people have. And even people in the personal development space use that term. Like, I can't remember I can't remember all the terms, but they've used that terms, and I've seen it over here recently, past couple of months. Like, you know, going from I used to like say I'm going from broken to badass. That was before I understood that we as humans cannot ever be broken.
Mhm.
Right? Like, our survival strategies are just that. They kept us alive.
Mhm.
And like, your nervous system cannot be broken. It is doing, it is protecting you at all costs. Like, you just cannot be a broken human being ever. And
Mhm.
I think when I learned that, it was such freedom. I just didn't I learned it intellectually first, but like when it landed for me in my body, I was just like, yeah, it's impossible to be broken.
Mhm.
Right? We have just this intelligent, amazing, the words are not doing it justice, but our creator made us so hmm, goodness, in perfect image. The words, I have no words sometimes, so please forgive me. Like, we cannot be broken.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the journey into that awareness also includes something pretty significant. Sometimes we live with regret because of the path that we've taken, right?
Mhm.
And this journey, I think this path that we're taking, you're not ever in a place that you're not supposed to be in. And what I mean by that is, yeah, some of the experiences are really shitty, really hard and painful and traumatic. But when you start to develop the awareness of the power that you have, the truth of who you are, and to begin to put faith in that, you'll start to notice that or recognize that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And everything that happened for you
Mhm.
as opposed to you. And this is a really hard pill to swallow. I mean, for me, it was like a light bulb moment because, I grew up with childhood abuse. I grew up with really living in a hypervigilant state of just fear, constant fear. And I think in part that's how my my ability to be so empathic really came from, because I was super hyper aware. And so I recognize that now, is look at the strength that that brought to me. At the time, I was so incredibly fearful of my life at times, had post-traumatic stress, like actual post, not like, I don't mean like actual, what I mean is not CPTSD, but like post-traumatic stress. I woke up with a reoccurring dream that I had since I was 4 years old of my mom trying to kill me. And that dream didn't end until I was 22.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was a reoccurring sweating, like just this fearful experience of life. And I very easily could sit in the space and look at that and go, you know, this was a horrible thing that happened to me. And it was a horrible thing that happened. And as a result of that, I've been able to move through the healing experience. I've
Yeah.
been able to learn how to forgive. I've been learning how to hold space for other people who are experiencing that without judgment. I've been able to um, strengthen my own skills of self reflection and self awareness as a result of that. And given so, I've become a better human being for the people that I interact with my child, even. And so I think to live with guilt and shame about what happened in the past doesn't serve us well, because it was part of the journey that was important for you to land where you are right now.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that, Isela. That was the first time I've heard you share that.
What?
The nightmare.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I had a, you know what? The very last time I had that nightmare was my therapist, who looked like Gandhi. Um, I told him I keep waking up in this cold sweat, and I sit up and I can't go back to sleep. And I'm like shaking because I'm so afraid. And he said to me, "How big is your mom?" And I said, "I don't know, my size." And she's like, so you guys are kind of like the same build. And I was like, yeah. He goes, well, if she was standing right here right now, and she went to hit you, could you kick her ass? I was like, oh yeah. Question. And he's like, then why are you so afraid?
Ah,
What happened will never happen to you again, right? And now we know it's not just a physical experience, there's a psychological connection there too. But that was an aha moment for me. That was like, yeah, I get to decide. I get to decide what I'm going to let happen in my life. And
ah,
just that little question changed sort of the trajectory of how I saw myself in relationships with others.
that's amazing.
Mhm.
So amazing. And I just want to acknowledge the 18 years of your life that you'd wake up in that
Mhm.
space.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to think, if you're walking through something for 18 years, you have something happen to you every night, 18 years, that it's never going to end.
Mhm.
So I think I just want to acknowledge that if you're listening to this on the replay, you're watching us, let that be evidence
Mhm.
that every new moment is a new moment. And
Mhm.
it went on for 18 years and it's done.
Mhm.
Never again. And that's
Yeah,
how powerful you are, Isela.
right. Yeah. And I want to reiterate what you said. Every new moment is a new moment. And I think that we live too much in the past.
Mhm.
We live too much of all the things that, and I'm not saying that we don't need to move through because sometimes there's a lot of forgiveness that needs to happen. Sometimes we're so stuck because we've got grievances, whether it's not forgiving ourselves or forgiving others. Like we've sometimes it's hard to move beyond if you're not willing to forgive.
Yes.
And so there is a need to heal, and that might be transmuting, that might be releasing, that might be integrating, that might be, and there's so many ways that that might look. But when we hold on to the past, it's literally dragging around a 500-ton weight. And well, the way that I like to describe it is some people have like little fanny packs of, crap. Other people have, backpacks. Other people have wheelie carts. And then you got folks that have like, the truck that beeps when it backs up. And so you continue to carry that with you through the journey of life. And so every time you replay something, every time you're like thinking and holding on to the guilt and the shame and the stories of it all, you still carry that.
Yes.
So it every moment you get to go, yeah, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I get a new moment right now to choose something different.
Yes. Every new moment, every moment. Right. Yeah. Thank you. I'm really just sitting with what you just shared, and it's a very powerful share. And yeah, speechless again. Hmm.
All right, everyone. So here's the thing. We're going to be jumping on here, and then I'm also on TikTok. So I did get enough followers because I've just started as a new creator over there. And so we're hoping to be able to have both of us over there. So if you're over there or you're over there, make sure you follow me. It's Love Being, Isela Love Being. And then we want to do this kind of thing where we come up and we'd like to do some readings
Yeah.
and to provide some life coaching. So just kind of make sure you like us and you share this out, and so that you'll get notified. We
Yeah.
just have to be more, I think, engaged as well.
Yeah. And I think you can turn your notifications on if you want to be notified when we go live. So turn those on, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go.